7 new mass vaccination centres for COVID-19 have opened in Britain. Record high deaths and infections have put the nation's health service under pressure. And England's top medical officer says the worst is yet to come. The British government aims to vaccinate around 15 million people by mid-February. The UK is currently in a third nationwide lockdown after hospital admissions spiked after the Christmas holidays. Officials warn that COVID-19 restrictions could be tightened if people break the rules.
We don't want to go any tougher because this is a pretty tough lockdown. What we need is people to behave as if they've got the virus, and so that we can bring this virus under control whilst we vaccinate. What I want to get to is to make sure that every adult in England has the ability to vaccinate within 10-mile radius of where they live. That is our absolute focus. That is what you'll see us do. We will roll out more vaccination centres next week and the week after.
Ollie Barrett joins us live from London for the latest. Ollie, the UK is still seeing huge case numbers despite the national lockdown. Could the government use even more severe restrictions then to get this under control?
The problem for the government is there isn't much more it can do with a lockdown already in place. There are some areas in which it could tweak current policies and current restrictions. For example, estate agents, property agents are currently still allowed to show people around houses because the government doesn't want the property market seizing up completely. But things like that could face further restrictions. We could see further restrictions on mask usage outdoors, for example. We could see nurseries shut down. They are currently open. We could see further restrictions on what people are allowed to do in terms of their outdoor exercise. But the government does want to avoid getting any tougher if it can. And that's why we're seeing a major rollout of an advertising campaign trying to urge people to follow the rules and restrictions that are already in place. There is a fear inside government that there is a bit of complacency starting to sneak in as a result of the vaccination rollout, and what it wants to avoid is people starting to lower their guards too early while that vaccination drive is really still getting underway.
And speaking about that rollout, Ollie, it is a big day for the UK's vaccination drive, but can the government's ambitious targets be met?
The government admits that they are ambitious targets indeed at the upper level of what is going to be possible, but the government believes it's right to set ambitious targets to get as many jabs into as many arms as quickly as possible. The government is saying that at the moment we are already seeing around 200,000 jabs per day, and they say that that number will increase. That number will need to increase if the government is going to hit its target of vaccinating 15 million people by the middle of next month. But the arrival of the mass vaccination sites is a key moment in trying to get those numbers even higher than they are at the moment. Matt Hancock will speak to the country later at a press conference at Downing Street and give a bit more detail about progress so far, but also how those targets are going to be hit. Around 2 million people in the UK have already received a vaccination of some sort, and around a third of those people who are over 80. So a large chunk of those most vulnerable people have already had jabs, but certainly the government has some way to go if it is to hit those ambitious targets by the middle of February.
All right, Ollie, thank you very much for that update. Ollie Barrett there in London.